All right, with that said, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. I apologize, our closed session went over a little bit. We're now going to get into our presentations, and we do have 3 presentations. The first presentation, I'm going to come down there tonight. Our first presentation tonight is going to be, we're going to give a certificate of recognition for an individual who's spent some time serving our community in a good way, not in a bad way. Mr. Reeves, would you join me up here? You can come on up here. I'm going to take the mic and talk for a little bit because once I give him the mic, we might be here for a while. I don't have many more jabs to give Mr. Howard Reeves, but I wanted to actually recognize him for his service to the city of Desert Hot Springs. Some of you won't recognize him because he's actually not a resident of Desert Hot Springs, but he spent enough time here he could be at one point. Howard started as the district administrator in 1970 or 89, but started with youth sports in the 70s, correct?
67.
67, wow, before I was even born. But he took over as a district administrator for District 58, which is with the Little League International. And the district here runs from Yucaipa through the high desert, Yucca Valley, 29 Palms. It's ran as far as south to Borrego Springs, Blythe east to Blythe at one point. And it's kind of been mixed up all through these years, depending on what leagues survived and what added and all that stuff. I'm a big supporter of youth sports. This is a field that I played on when I was a child, and I've given back many years of my own to the Little League program, and that's kind of how I came about to meet this man. Many years ago when I started, he would show up once a year and or twice a year actually, show up once a year and give the managers all kinds of direction on where to go and how the season was going to happen. And then when the All-Stars come, he'd come back and give another meeting. And over time, you got to try not to fall asleep in his meetings. But he got louder as he got older, and it was a real learning experience for me, because being a player and then coming to coaching and being an umpire and being a board member is there's a lot of different levels there. People think it's easy, but it's really not. Then you go above that to be a district administrator of multiple leagues, and trying to deal with different personalities isn't always easy. And he got paid a huge salary. It started off at 0, and it's still 0 today. And he did it because I believe he had the love of the game. We wanted to recognize you and say thank you, Howard, for your service to the city of Desert Hot Springs, and for really giving those years to us and mentoring the boards of directors here in the city of Desert Hot Springs, coaches and umpires. And to his wife, Pat, out there, this is what she does at every meeting. She makes sure he gets there on time. She makes sure he's in the room, and then she stands in the back and she takes care of hats, or she just kind of tells him it's time to go. And but I want to recognize her and say thank you for all those years of allowing him to do the service that he gave to us. But again, Desert Hot Springs, the city of Desert Hot Springs took over the Little League program last year, and it was one of his last probably heartaches trying to mentor that process, as it was much different than most of the nonprofit leagues in his district. But we hope we were easy to get along with, and for the most part, we wanted to say thank you on behalf of the mayor, myself, and the city council. Thank you for all your years of service. And he is sticking around to help mentor the next district administrator, and then he's hoping to officially retire
before I die.
I wasn't going to say it, but either way, thank you, Howard, and we really appreciate you. And I know he's not shy, and he will say a few words.
Thank you, Scott. My name is Howard Reeves. I live at, I have to do this system in front of the council members, no matter what council we go to. I live at 1017 Douglas Street, Calamasa, California, where I've resided for 55 years in the same house, and started in Little League in 1967, in April when we moved there. And but my wife and I, we've been married a long time. We just passed 61 years. And now that I've turned 81, and I'm looking, there's only 5 20s in 100, and I burned up 4 of them. And I've already lost 1 of the 20s that are left. So clock is ticking, and like Scott said, I have 1 year left on my term, my 4-year term, but I stepped aside and brought somebody else in for me to mentor and train. So next summer, when they have to pick another DA, hopefully it'll be a smooth transition for the district. And so I want to thank the City Council for taking Scott's wisdom here when Scott come to me and said, hey, we need to see if we can take this league and have it run better, maybe get the city involved and stuff of that nature. So far, it's been a good move, good transition. I want to thank Roberta for all the headache you put up with. And of course, it's hopefully this thing will work, the system that we have here, and this award, I don't even get awards in my own town. Scott, can you call the other towns around and put a word in for me, But I was shocked when Daniel sent me this. I go, what's this email about, So this is a pleasure. That a city I don't even live in would have that much respect and courtesy. And that's something that we don't have much anymore. Respect to each other, say thank you, and be kind and what have you. Because hardly any of us live past 100 years old. So we only got a few years on this earth, so let's make the best of them. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
And Pat, this is the shortest meeting you're going to have to attend. You can leave now. You don't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting. But again, thank you to both of you for everything you put into our city. Really appreciate that. All right, our next presentation is going to be given by Food Now. Dana Johnson's here, and he's going to give a presentation. This was requested by Councilmember Pai based on your recent grant, or award, and so we're have the pleasure of listening to what you were awarded, and please, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hello, City Council and distinguished members and residents. My name is Dana Johnson. I'm the Director of Food Now and resident of Desert Hot Springs. And I'm here to talk a little bit about Food Now. We did just do the fast pitch through the RAP Foundation, and we were awarded the most innovative for our pitch on the Weekend Meals program. But I wanted to just come and explain reiterate to the council exactly what we do. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Scott. I know that you were involved with Food Now from way back, but as some of you might not know, and congratulations to all of you who survived the election season as well. Glad to see you're back, Jan and Gary. Food Now has been around since 1989. Started out with Guy Tedesco out there on Ironwood in his garage, and his heart was, had such a great heart for this community, as we all do, but he outgrew it. The city actually said, hey, you need to do something better than your garage. And so the city's helped out all along the way. They helped out when they moved over to the Palm Drive. And then I got on board right when Mary Prado was there, and we even outgrew that place. We moved over to our place we're at now at the corner of Two Bunch Palms and Palm. We have a large, warehouse, Today we're serving about 300 to 350 families every week, and that number will explode to about 500 families over the holidays. And we're just thrilled to death that we can do this. We're blessed that we're able to do this. Last year, these are unduplicated numbers. Last year, we served 3,500 unduplicated residents of Desert Hot Springs. That's about 12% of the population. So, like, you look around the city, and 1 in 8 people that you see have visited Food Now at least once. And that doesn't mean they're poor or impoverished or reckless. That means that they need help. They need, most of our clients, in fact, they come 5 times or less. They're down. They need help. We give them a helping hand up. And then they come back a month later, a year later, and say, "Oh, Mike, you're that guy from Food Now. We thank you so much. You were there when we needed you." And that's what we are. We're there when people need us. We will distribute about 850,000 pounds of food this year. That has an economic benefit back into the community of $1.4 million. So I want to talk about that for just a minute here, because food insecurity, everybody talks about food insecurity. We all know how bad food insecurity is. That's why people come to Food Now. They need help getting food. The medical problems that come along with not having proper food, the obesity, diabetes, heart conditions, they're all side effects of not having enough and proper food. So we make sure that families, households, individuals are food secure. We have a safe, reliable place where they can come every week and get healthy food and adequate amounts of healthy food. So we make sure that families, individuals, children are food secure. I mentioned that $1.4 million economic benefit. See, that's because if a family, an individual, a community is food secure, they can reallocate that money. That money goes back into housing, so families become food secure. That money goes back into education, clothing, medicine, so they become job secure, and transportation, they can get to work. So it's more than we're more than just feeding people. We're actually helping people be lifted out of poverty. We're actually helping, obviously, the health and wellness of the community, helping people become food secure, housing secure, job secure. So, Jan, you heard my pitch on the fast pitch on the children. I just want you to know, I'm going to have somebody come up right now, Jennifer from one of our schools, that we provide, in addition to 350 households every week we provide food for, we also partner with all 5 elementary schools here in Desert Hot Springs, and blessed by Palm Springs Unified, and we're truly blessed to be able to do this. But we provide about 150 children every week with a backpack filled with food, because we want our children to be food secure as well. So I want to have a testimony right now from Jennifer real quick. You want to come up? Jennifer is the face specialist. Hey, can we get a hand for our face specialist from all the schools? I'll tell you what, every time I deal with any one of these specialists from the elementary schools, my heart just leaps with joy, because I know that our children are in the best hands. Well, anyway, here's what Food Now is doing for the schools.
Thank you. So thank you for having us here. My name is Jennifer Perla, and as Dana said, I'm the Family and Community Engagement Specialist over at Two Bunch Palms Elementary. And I just want to talk a little bit about how much of a blessing it is to be able to work with Food Now. When we first started our backpack program over at Two Bunch Palms, we had roughly about 15 students on our list. In this backpack, they get a meal to take home over the weekend. And that number has been increasing basically every day. And so we're well over 30 students who are getting that backpack now, and I continue to keep getting names on a weekly basis. And it's just the joy that these kids have when they get these backpacks. It is just a blessing to be able to partner with Dana so that it's a blessing for me to be able to experience that. And I know it is so for my students and their families. I've heard a lot about so many parents coming to me saying, I didn't even know this was available for us. And when we felt like we were very hopeless, this at least alleviated that much more for us. And we're so thankful for everything that has been provided for us through Food Now. And so it's been great to be able to experience this, to be able to help our students, to help our families. And yeah, we look forward to continuing expanding that, because I know I am appreciative and thankful for the opportunity to help these students, and these families look forward to it, and they are so grateful for that opportunity and having those meals and backpacks available for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. So I mentioned it's all about making families, communities, individuals food secure. We 350 to 500 families every week get the weekly food distributions. We also have daily food distributions, ready packages for our clients that are unhoused. We provide about 50 unhoused clients a day with sandwiches, ready-to-eat meals. In addition to that, we've also partnered. I'm so thrilled with this because it's all about making our community food secure so they could, reinvest, reallocate this money. We also partner with Palm Springs Unified High School. And so I would like to have Teresa come up, give you a little bit of a testimony about how we're impacting the high school kids as well.
And good afternoon. A couple of you already know me, and I'm very grateful for being here. Every Tuesday, 7:30 in the morning, I go to Food Now, and right now my list is up to 18 families. So what I do is I pick up boxes of food, really big meals. I take them to their houses. The families that I cannot reach, they get a ride from a neighbor or something, and I park in the back of our staff parking lot, and I open the trunk, and they come pick up their food. I'm telling you, they look forward. I have families, I have students knocking at my door and saying, Miss Teresa, can you please help me? My family, my dad lost my job, my mom got deported. There's always different stories. So what Food Now is making a big difference. I challenge all of you, if anybody wants to shadow me on a Tuesday, you can see the big difference that Food Now is making. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Thank you. Food security. Okay, it helps everybody in every aspect of our life to be food secure. We're that safe, stable source of food. I just want to point out one other partnership we have, and that is with, we're partnering with Team Mom. She's going to be doing a Thanksgiving Day outreach. We also partner with local churches. I'm a member of the Spring. I'm thrilled to death to introduce my next guest, and this will be the last one, Pastor Matt, because we also help with food ministries from churches. So, Pastor?
Good evening. It's good to be with all of you this evening, and especially exciting to be able to just speak to the positive benefits of having an organization like Food Now in our community. I've worked in the local church for 20 years of my life, and one thing that's an ongoing constant need as local churches, we help to facilitate certain kinds of needs in communities, and often that has to do with helping to feed hungry bellies. And I'm so thrilled that we have such an amazing food bank right here in our city to be able to facilitate not only just a weekly distribution to people in need, but also backpack programs that go into our schools. And it's really amazing to see the impact that Food Now is able to have here in Desert Hot Springs. And our church, the Spring, is thrilled to partner with Food Now and to work alongside. It's funny. It's great having such an easy resource in my back pocket. When somebody comes along and says, we're really in need of this, we're in need of that, it's like, no problem. I've got just the place for you. Let's get you to Food Now. Let's get you taken care of. So thank you for just a few moments of your time. But again, love having Food Now. Love Dana. Love having them in our community. So
Thanks, Pastor. Yeah. Thank you. So you can see we've come a long way since Guy Tedesco's garage, okay? And why am I here? Well, it's been a strange year for Food Now. During COVID, everybody, oh my gosh, we need to help the food programs. I think all of my funders have COVID fatigue. Okay, that's why I'm here. It's a very strange year for Food Now, and so I'm here not with hat in hand, but just maybe I know how much the council appreciates programs, especially for programs for youth, and I salute that. I just know that where your heart is, and I know your heart's with Food Now as well. So, but I have an opportunity. I have an opportunity to give back to Food Now. We have our event. We took a couple years off from our special events with COVID, as everybody did. Can I get the next slide? We have our chili cook-off coming back, and we partnered that with a cornhole championship. Can you believe it? If that doesn't get you excited, you must be asleep. Okay, it's coming up on January 14th at the Palm Springs Air Museum. We have the regular chili cook-off coming up. Scott, I hope you can come join us again and in fact, I would like to invite the whole council to come out, participate as a judge or a cook or just something, but I'd love to have the whole council there. But it's an opportunity for us to raise much needed funds. Okay. Can you get the next slide? Like I said, we have the, how about the next one after that even? We have you can join a team and do a cornhole, register your cornhole team. The general admission for the chili cook-off is only $35. We do have the VIP treatment again for $125. It's going to be just a lot of fun. I have a mechanical bull coming, okay? So how much fun is it? Let's see, an open bar and a mechanical bull. What can go wrong? Anyway, it's all about raising money so we can continue to help the community become food secure, so that we can have families that extra hand they need. And it really does have a residual effect of lifting families out of poverty, as housing secure, job secure. It's just a great opportunity. There are sponsorships available. I really hope that the council would consider a presenting sponsor because this is we only have one fundraising event this year. And so I hope that I've left the information with Gerald, and I hope that you would give us careful consideration and prayerful consideration to supporting Food Now. Thank you for your time.
Dana, well, first of all, I will commit to two of my favorite things, food and sport. So I'll definitely be there. I've cooked in your chili cook-off many times, and I just love doing that. It's a fun event. I really love the fact that you're changing it up this year and adding the cornhole. There's a league here in the valley that roams around, and they're really nice people, and they do a really great job. And you don't have to know how to play. You can just come out. They'll show you. If you can put together a team, it's going to go for a great cause. Obviously, the packet will be given to our city manager's office, and I'm sure we can do something. We'll just have to see what we can do at this point. We've always, as a city, I believe, I don't want to speak for everybody on the council, but I believe all of us, including our staff members, have given some sort of support to the organization at some time. I know that we had a program with our staff that actually went down there and helped do bags, and so I can't say that what we can do yet, but we're going to do something to help you, and we'll be there for you.
But let me point this out. It's a great point, Scott, that the Desert Four-Baggers, they're huge here in the Valley, and they're the ones that put on the tournaments, the league here in including Desert Hot Springs and throughout the Valley. So they are the one that are presenting the cornhole side of the event, so it's going to be very well run.
Very well, yeah, definitely. Any questions from council? All right, again, thank you so much for coming out tonight, and thank you for everything you do for our community. This is so important.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, Jan, go ahead.
He has people here.
Raise your hand if you volunteer at Food Now.
Oh, yeah.
The volunteers, they're the backbone of the organization, and Marge over there, she's the drill sergeant. The supervisor. She keeps things straight, keep things going, and you can't thank them more. Anything to add, Dana?
Yeah, I would like to thank you for mentioning that, because it was on the bottom of my notes here. But we have 30 of the best volunteers, starting with Marge and all the way down, 30 of the greatest volunteers that you could ever ask for. We are running so well right now because Marge creates an environment where it's welcoming, and people love to come and volunteer with us because we need it. It takes 15,000 hours a year of volunteer time to keep our doors open. I'm a part-time paid position. I have 3 other part-time paid positions, and so we depend. We could, literally, when I say we could not do it without you, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you all.
Great, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And we have one more presentation tonight. This is going to be the landscaping certificate training presentation. This is going to be from College of the Desert. Welcome.
Certification Program. We wanted to just share a little bit about what we're doing with this program. My name is Veronica Isurieta. I'm the Director of PACE, Partnership and Community Education. We're the not-for-credit side of the house of the college. And we've partnered with CVAG, Coachella Valley Association of Government, to develop and facilitate this certification program. The mission of this program is to provide workforce training for landscapers here in the Coachella Valley and to reduce dust emissions to improve air quality. And I'd like to share a very short video of what the training, how it got started, and a little taste of it.
Welcome to the Overseeding Certification course for landscapers in the Coachella Valley. This course is brought to you by the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, or CVAG. The Coachella Valley Association of Governments, in partnership with the Coachella Valley cities, have adopted a valley-wide ordinance to improve air quality. Coachella Valley area landscapers and landscape-related businesses are being asked to join the clean air effort by using alternative turf renovation and seeding techniques. CVAG has created this course to help educate landscape professionals about these alternative techniques. Completion of this overseeding certification course is required to obtain a new landscape-related business license. The primary goal is to reduce dust emissions, specifically to reduce PM10 dust emissions during fall turf overseeding. Let's learn a little more about PM10 dust emissions.
All right, thank you. So as you can see, the training provides an explanation and solutions to major air pollution problems here in the Coachella Valley. The Landscaper Certification Program is for landscapers who are applying for a new business license or renewing their license. The certification is good for 1 year, so we're asking landscapers to take this training course each year as a refresher. The training was developed and launched as in response to the Clean Air Act and the need to meet the state air quality standards. CVAG organized an Energy and Environmental Resource Committee to do more for our air quality, which included providing this training for our Coachella Valley landscapers. The Landscaper Certification Program is free. It's no cost to the landscapers to take the training. It's fast. It takes approximately 30 to 60 minutes to take each of the modules in the program. It's bilingual. It's offered in both English and Spanish, and it's convenient. It can be accessed from any computer, a home, office, laptop, library, even the smartphone, or at PACE. So PACE is located in the Palm Desert Mall, and we're available to assist any landscaper who needs assistance with the training. They can come to our facility and use one of our computers in our computer lab, or if they, over the phone, need help with accessing the program or printing the certificate, any way that we can help, we're here to assist them. So as we said, the training provides an overview of the PM10 dust emissions, turf renovation, and seeding techniques to reduce dust emissions and improve our air quality. It provides an in-depth guide and best practices for reseeding, and it reviews water conservation goals, recycling, green waste, topsoil, and compost as they relate to proper seeding techniques. And to ensure that trainees are obtaining this knowledge, there are periodic knowledge checks throughout the program. And once they successfully complete the program, they'll have their certificate of completion that they can bring to the city when they're applying for their license. In 2016, CVAG partnered with Coachella Valley Water District to expand the Landscaper Certification Program to address the issue of water conservation. In this training, it provides information relating to practices of water conservation to include desert-friendly landscaping and turf grass water use efficiency. Again, the training is designed to make sure that they obtain the skills with periodic knowledge checks, and this one does have a final assessment that they have to achieve 70% or higher to earn their certificate. So together we can make a difference. And we're just asking tonight for your support of this program to work with CVAG and College of the Desert. First, to share the information with the landscaper applicants. We have provided brochures at the city office that you can pass out to applicants. Also to help us stress the importance of this training and to refer any individual that needs assistance with the training. So again, I thank you for your time and also for your contribution to clean air and water conservation.
Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight and giving that presentation. I think it's so important with the water restrictions today from the state and through our water districts that we really learn other options. And when it comes to clean air, every year around this time in October, all our allergies just go crazy because of the overseeding process. And to find alternatives, my real job's in property management and managing multiple HOAs. They've given them opportunities to cut down the overseeding process on how to do that and training the landscapers in more detail in that process. And being a city that has a lot of small businesses, and we have a lot of landscaping businesses out of the city of Desert Hot Springs and the surrounding area, I think this is a great opportunity for them to become part of this program. So, any other questions, Mr. Betts?
Yeah, I just wanted to share an experience. I was driving my grandson to school, and I see this big plume of dust going through the air, and I didn't know where it was coming from. Wasn't quite sure it was a fire or what. And I got down there, and I guess the high school was reseeding the football field. And it was just a tremendous amount of dust that was coming up and washing over the city. Is that what happens every time somebody does reseeding?
Often, so we do, part of the training is techniques to help control that, yes.
Okay, so would they apply water in that situation or what?
I'm not an expert in that,
Okay.
but certainly if we go through the training, and all of you are welcome to take the training as well. Like I said, it's free, and then you can get a sense of what the landscapers are learning. But yes, that's what they're learning is techniques to help control that.
Okay, well, somebody needs to pass that along. So, all right, I'll go take the training. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we really appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we'll do our part.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's all the presentations we have tonight. We have 10 minutes before the regular meeting, so we'll recess until 6 o'clock.
The Mayor and City Council welcome you to the Desert Hot Springs City Council meeting. As a courtesy to others, please silence all phones. Please complete a speaker request form, which can be found to the left of the entrance to the City Council chambers, if you would like to address the City Council on a non-agenda item. If you would like to comment on an agenda item, a speaker request form is not required. Public comments will be heard during the agenda item. Please submit the completed speaker request form to the city clerk seated to the left of the speaker podium. All speakers will have 3 minutes to complete their comments. A countdown timer will appear on the screens located around the council chambers. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum. Due to the Brown Act, which is California's open meeting laws, only items listed on the agenda can be addressed by the City Council. The City Council is unable to respond to matters raised on non-agenda items. However, please be aware that your comments will be noted. The speaker's name will be called to speak at the appropriate time in the order that the forms are received. Thank you for your interest and participation in the Desert Hot Springs City Council meeting.
Good evening, everyone. We are back. Dan, are we good? All right. We are going to call to order the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as the successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. This is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betts.
Present.
Councilmember Nunez.
Here.
Councilmember Pai.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Present.
Mayor Mattis.
Present. Our invocation tonight is going to be given by Pastor Randa Ray of St. Anthony's Community Church. Welcome. You'll have to press the button right on the microphone there. It'll turn on, turn red, and it's all yours for the invocation tonight.
Thank you. Let's pray. Lord God, your word tells us to seek the welfare and the well-being of the cities in which we are placed. And we live here in this beautiful town, and we do seek its welfare. I ask for your wisdom to be ever present among those who bring matters to the council and on the decisions that are made here this evening, that they might bring beauty and glory to this world. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for stepping in today and doing that for us. Our Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by Mr. Nunez.
Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Attorney, would you report on closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We do have one reportable action item on number 3. There is a 5-0 vote from the City Council to commence litigation.
And at this time, they're going to approve the agenda, but when we approve the agenda, we also approve the consent calendar. Would anybody like to pull anything from the consent calendar? Would anybody in the audience like to speak to any items on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent calendar.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. We'll wait for him to come up on the screen.
Motion passes unanimously.
Well, we haven't voted yet, so. Oh, I was waiting, Dan. You were doing so good up to that point. Well, that's the thing about Dan, Gerald, is he can read our minds and you never could.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're so good up here. We read each other's minds. I like it. All right. We're going to go to public comments. I do have some blue cards. If you did want to speak in public comments on items not on the agenda, you need to fill one of these out there in the corner on the table over there, and you can hand them to Dan, and he'll read your mind on what you want on the card. At this time, pursuant to the Brown Act, any person may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the City Council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment portion of the agenda that are not listed on the agenda. All comments are to be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain professional, courteous decorum during public comments. Your 3 minutes will be on the board above you. Please watch that. When your 3 minutes are up, I'll ask you to finish your thought. Mr. Tom Owen.
I've seen a lot of things come and go, and I'm proud of this city. I was on the committee that helped start our police department. I was on the high school committee with Councilmember Pai, and Desert Hot Springs is a nice, decent place to live. I would like to address Tranquility Park. I haven't seen anything on Tranquility Park, but I'm very interested in it. And in the near future, I'd like to hear preliminary reports or any reports at all from our city. I visited this last Saturday afternoon the corner of Pearson Boulevard and Highway 62. There are 6 crosses at that intersection, all decorated and maintained very nicely. One of them's for an 8-year-old boy. I believe that our city should take on Pearson Boulevard at Highway 62 to make it safer for all the drivers. We also have hundreds and hundreds of cars every day heading to Joshua Tree National Park. Wouldn't it be nice if we had that as a nice entrance to our city? We have a couple of entrances already. One we share with Palm Springs, one we share with Cathedral City. But this one would just belong to us. And I would love to see something happen with that. I'd be glad to help. I've served on committees before. I'd be glad to serve our city again on a committee like that. And as I said before, I think it would be nice if we could really draw some attention to that corner with some of our public arts funds and putting like a 30-foot statue of Cabot Yerxa with his mule, Merry Christmas, on their way to haul water. They used to go down to Garnett to haul water back. And he was so glad when he found water, saved him a lot of time. And again, I appreciate our city. I appreciate our council. And I believe Desert Hot Springs is a very nice place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Mr. Dunn, Dave Dunn.
Good evening, Mayor Scott Mattis, City Council. Congratulations to Gary and Jan for your re-election. I've been a member for only 15 years in this city. I am a former chair of the DHS CERT program for 5 years and the CEO of the Coachella Valley Disaster Preparedness Network, and I'm currently the Vice President of Operations for the Desert Hot Springs Spa Hotel on the corner of 8th and Palm. I'd like to thank you for the new drainage system and the curb and sidewalks on the east side of 8th Street, there, Palm Drive rather, on 8th Street. It's a very nice improvement. Approximately 6 months ago, without any notice from the city of Desert Hot Springs, a public works crew started putting up a chain link fence around the Hot Springs Park on the northwest corner of 8th Street and Palm Drive, which is adjacent to our hotel. A couple days later, we had a short meeting with Eric Bercero, Community Development Director, who apologized for the city not discussing their plans with us for the renovation of the park. In subsequent meetings, Eric showed me renderings of the plans for the Hot Springs Park renovation. I was advised the hotel would receive a copy of these renderings to show our guests. During that meeting, I requested that the city put up a banner along Palm Drive and possibly on 8th Street announcing the renovation. Eric assured me that that would be no problem. For 6 months, we have had this ugly chain link fence around the southeast corner of our property. Our guests ask us what is going on. Is it safe to rent rooms at our hotel? When will improvements be completed? There is no evidence of any improvements being done. We donated this property to the city in good faith that the city would always see that the Hot Springs Park would be an asset to the community and to our property. It seems that that vision has been lost and our management staff is not kept in the know of what is happening immediately adjacent to our commercial property. We would like to participate in a meeting with the Community Development Department at your earliest convenience regarding the timeline for the Hot Springs Park renovation. If the improvement is going to be delayed, then we would request the chain link fence be taken down. I believe all the city council members have my phone number, and I would appreciate hearing from someone regarding this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments tonight. Rebecca, is it Rodea? Rodea.
Hi, good evening. I've attended a few safety committee meetings, and this last one was canceled, so I spoke with the police chief, he suggested I come here. My concern is the issues we're having with the homeless and the fires that keep going on. The Sahara Hotel now, our motel, is burned 3 times in the last 2 weeks. 3 times. Okay, all these fire crews come out. They did a sweep and ran a bunch of the homeless people out of there. And I babysat for my friend right there at 4th Street, right close by. Within half an hour of the officers leaving, all these people are drifting right back in. And this last fire, I believe, one of the people told me that it was started because a man was trying to hook into the electricity, illegally, of course, to get electric into the Sahara where they're staying. So there's a real issue with the homeless encampment there. And also down at Mission Springs Park, we're having an issue with the lady down there. Then she's leaving, there's leaving syringes all over. I would just like to see it more addressed and what's going on, because it is a real blight. And it's also it's a danger to the homeowners up there. I'm a renter, but my friend's buying a home up in that area. And every time one of those places catches on fire, she's scared to death that it's going to get to her place too. So I don't know what's on your plan, but I'd like to see it addressed more. You know, I know the homeless are hard to deal with because a lot of them have mental issues and they won't accept help. But at the same time, the people that are buying their homes up there shouldn't have to suffer through this. I mean, 3 times in less than 2 weeks. And this last time was like a 3-alarm fire with all these different fire trucks. And it's just getting excessive. So, and that's all I need to say. Thank you.
We appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming tonight. Dana Johnson?
Hi, my name is Dana Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Food Now, and I'm here to announce the 15th annual Food Now Chili Cook-Off. And this year we're combining it with a Cornhole Championship, the first annual Coachella Valley Cornhole Championship. So what can be better than a Cornhole Championship and a Chili Cook-Off? How about a mechanical bull? Yeah, we'll throw that in too. Anyway, no, this is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. Is coming up on January 14th, Saturday, at the Palm Springs Air Museum. I left a bunch of flyers back on the back. All of you listening at home, you can contact me at Food Now. Go to the website, foodnowdhs.org. It's just a lot of fun. I invite the entire council to come out and participate any way you can. Come out, have fun. The Palm Springs Air Museum in and of itself is just amazing. You combine that with a fundraiser for Food Now, it's just a win-win. So I thank you for your time, and I hope to see everybody at the Chili Cook-Off and Cornhole Champ. Oh, one more thing. The Cornhole Championship is being run by the Desert Four-Baggers. If you know anything about cornhole tournaments, then you know about the Desert Four-Baggers. So anyway, great time. If you'd like to cook, give me a call. If you'd like to play in the tournament, check out our website, foodnowdhs.org. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dana. And if you didn't have a chance to watch our presentations tonight, you can rewind. I don't know if you can rewind anymore with the proper terminology. I asked to put the tape in the VCR the other day. So, no, if you rewind this meeting back to our presentations, you'll actually see a really nice presentation by Food Now and what they're doing for our community. So, thank you for everything you do. Mr. Eddie Johnson. I have no other blue cards. Anybody would like to speak in public comments? This will be the last call.
Good evening, city council members, city staff, residents. We have a great Veterans Day ceremony. We had a lot of people there. And I want to thank Roberta for all you did. And let me help you that I did. I did a lot with you, and I appreciate that. And the other thing, I want to thank Jam Pie, because once we finished Desert Hot Springs, we took off and went to Palm Desert because I helped honor the 107-year-old World War II veteran, Uncle John, and Jam was there too. I appreciate her doing that. But again, back on the Veterans Day, it was really a great turnout. We had coffee for people, we had a lot of donuts for people, and also we had the water, and just the turnout was tremendous because Memorial Day we did the same thing with standing room only. I want to thank the chief of police for being there. And Luke, I know we could see you because you're the tallest one out there, like a Statue of Liberty. And every council member was there. It was just awesome, and we appreciate this. And I brought my singer over, Zanisa Clary. She did good, did it in Palm Desert. And I want to thank you all again for allowing us to do the Veterans Day ceremony. And thank you again, Roberta. Great job. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing, Mayor, is that Robert's going to come up Friday morning. We're going to do 9 tiles in the Veterans Park.
Awesome.
That's engraving the names. And it's kind of tough because he's the only one doing it now of his group. So this takes a little time. I want to make sure the residents know, too, out there, that we take a quantity of 9 or 10 tiles to make his money's worth for his truck to put gas in it and get the sand. So that's the issue there. So it will work out this time. And then I think we're going to have about 8 tiles left. And I have some other people that really want to get their loved ones engraved in that tile. And then we're going to work on doing another one, not quite so tall. If you know what I mean, Luke. Thank you, sir. Hey, thank you, everybody.
If you don't know who Eddie Johnson is, he's our caretaker of our Veterans Park here in Desert Hot Springs. Eddie, thank you for everything you do. We have to keep you busy so you stay off the streets and stop bothering people. No, he does a fantastic job, and what he's referring to with the tiles is that our Veterans Park has areas that you can honor your loved ones that have served the military by having a tile engraved and put into the monument area there in Veterans Park. So. Well done, Eddie. Is there any other public comments tonight? I see nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments tonight and move to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We have 3 department updates this evening. First, a financial update from our Administrative Services Director. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. So this is our financial update as of November 14th, 2022. Fiscal year 22-23 revenues are at $4.7 million, which is 15% of the amended budget. Last year at this time, revenues were at $6.3 million, which were 20% of the budget. However, that included the $1.7 million transfer from the ARPA funds, so the actual revenues would have been $4.5 million without that transfer. For fiscal year 2021, the revenues were $4.5 million and at 18% of the budget. Fiscal year 22-23 expenditures are $9.5 million, which is 29% of the budget. Last year at this time, expenditures were $9.2 million, which were also at 29%. And 2 years ago, expenditures were at $8.9 million, which were at 33% of the budget. Thanks, Jeffrey. And now we'll move on to Public Works.
Good evening. The following is the updates for the Palm Drive project and the Reflection Park project. Oops. This is the flat work that's being done as of today on Palm Drive for the Palm Drive North project. The picture on the left is the new ADA sidewalk approach at Palm and 5th Street. The middle picture is the new ADA sidewalk approach on Palm and 6th Street. The picture on the right is the new sidewalk on Palm north of 8th Street. Construction will continue up the east side of Palm, heading north. This is the removal of existing asphalt curb and gutter to prepare for forming and pouring of concrete. The picture on the left is a view of Palm facing south to 8th Street. The picture on the right is a view of the removal of the driveway at Palm and 8th Street. This is an image for the Reflection Park project. Staff is currently getting quotes to get the images like this on a construction windscreen. The posting of the windscreen with the images on the construction fencing is to let the public know of this project, that this project is coming soon. Staff anticipates bringing this project to City Council for award of construction in the summer of 2023. Staff also anticipates construction to begin in the fall of 2023. Thank you.
And finally, from our Executive Program Director.
Thank you, Luke. Just a reminder that the State of the City is this Thursday at the Desert Hot Springs Recreation Center. The Business Expo starts at 10:30 and the actual event starts at 11:30, and tickets are still available on the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce website. And then if you're interested in participating in our parade on December 10th, the applications are due this Thursday by the close of business, and there is no cost to participate. And The applications can be found on our website under the Events tab. Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We'll move to council member comments. I'm going to start on this side tonight. Mr. Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Commission was formed through a tax measure to assure the public that they would have a say over the businesses, over the public safety in the city. And it's really important that they be able to have their say at that meeting. I know we had a speaker here today who brought up issues that would normally be brought up at the Public Safety Commission meeting. Where I'm going with this is that we've now had 2 meetings canceled this year in August and November. And I would really like to see if we could avoid that. Now, the November cancellation was for Veterans Day, but I think we could have easily rescheduled that meeting. If you get on social media, you see a lot of people often complaining or expressing concerns about public safety issues. And lately they've been saying, okay, we've got this Public Safety Commission that's available to us, and you can see some momentum going where people are going to start showing up and attending. And I know Russ, when Russ Martin's out in the audience, when he was there in the commission, it was quite lively because they took a very serious look at, making sure the public had this forum. So I would like to see if we can somehow get that November meeting rescheduled so people who are planning to attend can attend. And then if somebody has some notion of canceling these meetings, they say, no, wait a minute, we're not going to do that. We're either going to reschedule it like the council does or whatever. So I won't belabor the point, but I just want to express that I think the public's disappointed. The ones that were planning to attend the last meeting haven't had that opportunity to do so. And it's a very important forum for the public to attend. Shifting gears on another note, there's a Salton Sea Forum coming up on December 3rd at the UCR campus in Palm Desert. It's going to be a 3-panel discussion. As everybody may or may not be aware, there was a study that was done by UCR Santa Cruz, or the University of Santa Cruz, and that was headed up by somebody who has for a long time said that ocean water import is not the way to go. And surprise, surprise, this panel came out with a decision that ocean water import's not the way to go. That's contrary to our city's position and the position of the other cities unanimous in the Coachella Valley and the Torres Martinez tribe and College of the Desert that all say that this is something that needs to be looked at and studied and the engineering done. What's incredible about that Santa Cruz study was that they recommended the solution for the Salton Sea is to take water from the Colorado River. And I think everybody knows that river is in serious overdraft. So it's just really, anyhow, if you want to, it should be a very interesting and enlightening panel discussion, so everybody's invited to attend that on December 3rd. Attended SCAG, Southern California Association of Governments, since their last meeting. The big discussion there was how we're going to convert everything over to electricity, even though there's no source for the electricity to power all these electric cars. Been pushing to get a little more serious discussion up there on this issue and made some progress in that regard, but there's this big push for electric, and it's just, as policymakers up there, we're supposed to be sitting there saying, can this work? And it's not always easy to get that question asked. It seems to be just a society heading headlong into electric cars when the obvious question is, where's all the electricity going to come from? Attended the Friends of Desert Mountains event. I was there with Councilmember Gardner. It was a very good event. It's a very important organization for our city and the work that they do in helping develop trails and their infrastructure here that leads to tourism in our city. And I was glad to be able to go down there and support that. Also attended the airport Air Museum where they had an unveiling of the F-117. And there again, there's another very important resource for us, just a short trip away, 15-minute drive, and you've got a major attraction, and that helps bring people to our city. For food now, Dana's been pressuring me for a long time to do Fill the Bus. And so at Sunline, every year, Sunline does a fill the bus. They do it a couple times a year, I guess. And so he says, well, Food Now could use some of that. So we got to fill the bus for Food Now this year. And that's on November 17th or 19th? Thursday. Okay, so now there might be something else going on at that date, so I might have to miss the actual fill the bus because I think the mayor would like the council members to be there for his speech, which I heard it's going to be very short, but very good. 3 hours. Yeah, good. So that's that. God, I got all these arrows telling me where I'm supposed to talk next, and I'm almost done here. On the fence at Hot Springs Park, I think 6 months, I was surprised it's been that long. I remember when seeing the fence go up, and I know I had some conversation with staff today, but it's a pretty simple thing to get a banner up or something up. I know we just got through taking down a whole bunch of signs in the city, everybody was active in that effort, and if you need them, I'm sure they can figure out. I'm surprised that wasn't littered with campaign signs, but they usually go everywhere. But it seems a pretty simple thing to get a banner put up, even if it's a temporary basis, because I think it has a real impact on a very important commercial property in our city that, why is there's chain link fence around what used to be this beautiful access to the park, or access to a beautiful park. So if we could please expedite that. They've been here at this meeting now 4 times, 3 or 4 months in a row asking for this, and I don't think it's too much to get a banner done. So if we could expedite that, that'd be great. And then I don't know what's going on at Mission Springs Park as far as the cleanup there, but I think at the last meeting we talked about, or I asked that we get some kind of presentation on what we're doing to clean up. We know the homeless are an issue, and we know that from other cities that they have a habit of making a mess. I don't know what it is, why they got to gather every tricycle with only 2 wheels, but that's just what happens. But they leave this behind, and we have to, as a city, go and clean up. It's a huge issue, it's a huge problem, but you look at cities like LA and Portland and you think, okay, well, they're there, but why isn't the city going and doing the sanitation it needs to do? So now we've had a public speaker come up and say we've got an issue down at Mission Springs Park. So whatever crew that we've got, whatever funding we've got for this, let's get that going. Let's get these crews out there as diligently as we do with the graffiti. We do a great job with that. We got the model, it works. Let's do the same thing with any other issues that we have coming up. And the last thing is, can we get an update at the next council meeting on Dollar General? The old one, the landscaping is just absolutely atrocious. I don't know, maybe a negative Nelly up here or negative Ned, whatever the case may be. But I've been looking at that it's been going downhill since 2018. And we need to get some progress on that. I know the staff's been working on it, but I got a lot of people asking me, why the heck has that landscaping been left to go like it has? And I was hoping that we could get something for the public at the next meeting where we get an update to let us know, maybe a code presentation or something, Mr. Mayor, that would update us on that. That's it. That's what I've got. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Chamber of Commerce had a very nice mixer up at Azure Palms. Lots of people up there on a very lovely, somewhat breezy and chilly night. A lot of us wanted to jump into the hot pools, but we were all fully clothed. It would not be nice. As Mr. Betts mentioned, we were at the Friends of the Desert Mountains annual fundraiser, and it was in honor of Buford Kreitz, and Buford has served this valley in many capacities and has been a huge advocate of trails, outdoor conservation, the Conservation Commission, the Mountains Commission, and I'm drawing a blank there with this cold medicine I've got going on.
Friends of the Desert?
No. What do we call when we buy the land? No, the fund that we use. The developers pay into the.
Development impact fees?
Yeah, well, it's. I am really losing it here, guys, tonight. And it's the. At any rate, he was one of the people instrumental in doing the multi-species habitat conservation plan. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Anyway, we did it was a beautiful evening, and we honored Buford. And Buford had been quite ill and literally passed away the next morning. And it was nice to be able to honor him the night, and then he passed away peacefully the next morning. We had a very nice Veterans Day celebration at Veterans Park, as we mentioned, and that just keeps getting bigger and bigger each year, and a great way to honor all of those who have served, and Eddie taking the lead in that. We had a Coachella Valley Conservation Commission meeting, acquired several more parcels near Desert Hot Springs, working on repairing and expanding the post and cable fencing on all the conservation land that's around DHS. And we're contracting with Desert Recreation District to do the work for that. So you'll see some additional fencing in our conservation areas and repaired fencing in the next few months. And lastly, we had a Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy meeting. And there'll be a number of new grant opportunities coming up next year that I'm hoping that we'll be able to take advantage of that'll help with our outdoor recreation and youth education programs. And I got a chance to show off our new Agents of Discovery app to them. And if you haven't downloaded that yet, you can find the link on the city webpage. But it's a fun little app that you and your kids can use to go out and explore the city and explore the desert and learn all kinds of neat new things. And we have a very cute little lizard avatar complete with hiking boots that takes you on these little trips, and it's really a neat little app. Anyway, that was funded by a grant from the CVMC, and they were very happy to see that. It was very well received, and we're looking forward to getting some more ones next year to expand our youth outdoor conservation education. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Nunez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to thank Roberta for putting on the Veterans Day celebration. It was really good. Eddie, Mr. Johnson, thank you for helping out with the efforts. The flyby got closer this year. So next year we'll see. We'll try to get it over the park itself. And I know that was kind of like a bummer that some of us can see the planes going by that, and some of us couldn't. So hopefully we can get it next year, get it perfect, and I think it's well deserved. The only thing I have tonight is, so going back to Mission Springs Park, I'm out there 3 days out of the week with practice and games on Saturdays, but we're continue to have issues out there during the evenings, and I think it's said well that we've had like homeless people there. We've had kids, teenage kids on the roof of the snack bar, so I'm hoping that we can get that agency that does patrolling, maybe bouncing from park to park if we're able to. But it seems to be gaining, more traction with more issues and problems with safety. I would really hate for one of those kids to fall off that roof and really break something. So that's the only thing I have with that. I'm hoping to see if we can get maybe Fine Now to be out there on a Saturday during the soccer games to give out like maybe fruits and vegetables to the kids. I think that would be a great idea to get the exposure and what we need, and then pass out those flyers. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Pye.
On November 5th, I attended Desert Springs Middle School. They were having their semi-con for families. And I attended Mrs. Korak's school. She's a science teacher. And it was like a survival mode. And she had cotton balls and string and a bunch of stuff. I did not participate. I just took notes. But it was good because there were families and there were young kids and they all participated. The main thing was they were supposed to do a parachute and have it drop. And they did, and some of them did really well, and that was a good thing. On November 10th, I attended the Marine birthday, and I have to give to First Sergeant Webb, her and her cadets are everywhere. They were at the Marine birthday that evening. They were in La Quinta for a Coachella Valley Volunteers in Medicine Award. And then I saw her someplace else. So she's all over the place. And I told the kids, I know that I represent them, but they represent us too. And they're awesome. On November 12th, I No, let me back up. Okay, I'll do this. On November 12th, I attended Ophelia. It was a training session from 8:30 to 12. Ophelia is a group that mentors young kids. I mentor at the Desert Hot Springs High School, and we are looking for more mentors. So if you would like to be a mentor, it's one day a month. And it's not that much, but it's a good thing. And to help, the main thing is to help young children, females, know that they're worth it. On the 14th, I call him Derek B., have attended a housing coalition with SCAG from February through December. Finally, we finished our last piece, and we did ADUs and JADUs, and we did a presentation, and I was also on it with Nancy Rock from Cathedral City, and we are going to try and do an ADU for all of Coachella Valleys to help figure out how to make it easier, and it will help with our arena numbers. On November 15th, I attended COD regarding cannabis, and your planning commission member, Mr. Nunez, she was on that also. And this time they wanted to talk about equality. I had committed to meet with CVAN, but I need to know more about it. They did ask us for money, and I told them I had to talk to the city manager and our finance director, and I could not make a commitment now. On the 4th of November, Mayor Pro Tem Gardner and myself attended the 13th Annual Support Services Appreciation Dinner. And the master of ceremony was Brooke Bear, invocation was by Paul Miller, and national anthem was by Candace Tarrant. And for this one, the Desert Hot Springs Police Department were the ones that put this on. I'm almost done. On Sunday, November 6th, I attended Pastor Johnson and his wife's 30th appreciation dinner, and I never met Miss J before, but I found out she's a real person, and that everyone was talking about how real she was, where she got to demonstrate that also. And yesterday, I'll find my paper. There was an AAPAC, what is African American Parent Advisory Council. They had their meeting with Mr. Smart, who is the executive of security, and our own Chief Henson. And they talked about how our police chief and their exec work together. Some of the parents asked some very serious questions, and I just have to say that Chief Henson was very honest with them, did not pander, and they were very appreciative of his comments. And Mr. Mayor, that's it.
So COVID's over. We're all full swing with meetings, and you can see that we're all very busy right now. COVID's not over completely, but for the most part, people are meeting in person and having events again, and it keeps us very busy as city council members. And Ms. Pye, you don't always use up all your time, so you use up all the time you wanted tonight. That's fine. I've been appointed to the Palm Springs Development Project Phase 1 Advisory Group for the College of the Desert, and they've scheduled, I believe it's 8 or 9 meetings, and they have the 3rd meeting on the November 2nd. They'll have the 4th meeting tomorrow. The way the board of trustees set it up is that each board of trustee was allowed to put one appointee from their district on this committee, and I was asked to sit on it. I have some opinions about how the process is going, but I can say the architectural firm that's been hired by College of the Desert is A1. They're doing a fantastic job on trying to plan what will be possibly the next campus on the west, the next campus for COD here in the West Valley at the Palm Springs location that was picked, which is the old Palm Springs Mall site. I'm listening. I'm asking some questions. I'm trying to convince them that they need to do more outreach. I think it's very important for our community to have a little more input than what they're allowing, and I'll continue to push for us on that. The Desert Hot Springs Cleanup Committee, fortunately, we have a great little cleanup committee of a couple of volunteers that are helping Mr. Nunez and I put together events with our schools, with educational opportunities and cleanup opportunities. Unfortunately, I had scheduled time outside the city on that weekend, and because of the holidays coming up, we wanted to make sure we were able to get it in, and the only day that the principals could commit to was on the 5th of November. And Mr. Nunez was gracious enough to show up and give some opening comments and help the kids pick up some trash, and I believe they filled up almost 2 dumpsters with trash. What we figure with our current cleanup program is that we'll have the code enforcement piece of it where our code enforcement department's working with our local businesses on grants to help clean up their businesses. We're working on it. We're getting closer to a neighborhood, and then the educational piece where we get out to the schools and teach the kids about recycling, the new organic waste laws, and where to really put their trash, not on the ground, in a trash can. And hopefully that takes them back to the home where they'll help their parents understand that and keep it out of our deserts and other places where it doesn't need to go. So that's the plan, and I again want to thank you for stepping in and helping with that event. The Coachella Valley Association of Governments had a transportation meeting on the 7th. I sit on there as a representative. The CV Link was awarded another $36.5 million from the state on their art and music line. The reason I hesitate on that is because at the same time we were applying from the city of Desert Hot Springs for a large grant, millions and millions of dollars. And we weren't awarded, and when we went to the second phase, we lost some points, and we had to figure out why. So we're working with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments on that. I know our staff is on top of it. In the next cycle, hopefully we'll see some award on that, but we'll still do everything we can to try to become part of that CV Link in the future. There was other projects that were approved at that committee meeting on the East Valley, discussion on the Monroe over interchange. I think a lot of you might work down there in Indio or travel during Indio, and you can see that that's a very needed interchange, and that is the top priority for the Coachella Valley and the large project transportations that we are funding right now. So there's talk about that. That project's moving down. I also attended the Riverside County Transportation Commission as the appointee for the City Council, and nothing pertaining directly to City of Desert Hot Springs. Wanted again to thank all our staff members from the City of Desert Hot Springs for helping coordinate our Veterans Day with our program director Roberta Cernick and our caretaker Eddie Johnson, all our staff members that came in on their holiday to help put those chairs up and take them down, and then all the organizations, the Desert Hot Springs Junior ROTC, the Desert Hot Springs Choir, and guest speakers. It's always a good event in our community that really brings pride to our Veterans Park here in our community. So if you haven't been to an event there, we have 2 events each year. Memorial and Veterans Day, please come out. It's literally, we don't usually last more than a half hour on the event time, so 45 minutes to an hour out of your day to come see a really well-run event. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We know that this time of year, I can't believe we're already saying that. Where did this year go, right? Before we know it, it's Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and then we start back over with a whole new year. But please be safe out there. If you have an opportunity to donate to a worthy cause, Food Now, as you've heard tonight, Dana Johnson's here. They're always helping serve the community, and it always gets revved up during the holidays, but they need food all year round. But if you really, really want to donate something during the holidays, they can help find that place to put your money at work that will help feed the maximum amount of families in need. So please see them. I know there's been a lot of comments tonight about different projects when it comes to, I know there's a local hotel that continues to have fires at it. I wish we can speak more to it right now, but there's a lot of legal litigation issues that we can't get into details about, so we won't be able to do that. But please feel free to talk with our staff. They'll give you as much information as they can on that. There is a lot of things going on behind the scenes on that. And we want to apologize to the public for those nuisances that happen, but sometimes we have property owners that just don't seem to want to take care of their properties the right way. And it's unfortunate, but our city staff has taken every action they can due to these incidents. The Hot Springs Park, Tranquility Park, Reflection Park, or whatever we're naming it today. I know there's a lot of people have a lot of different names for it. I know over the years it's changed a lot of different names. I hope we've got some resolution tonight. I know our Public Works is working very closely on that. That is one park of many parks in the transition to a bigger park master plan that we're hoping to be able to fund in the future. Parks are really something that's really a sticky point to the community. There's so many opportunities for them within our communities, but it's always a funding mechanism that it becomes. I understand the concerns, and I think you, the individuals that continue to come up here and ask those questions, you got quite a few answers tonight. If you don't have the proper answers, please see me in my office or give me a call. I'll be happy to get you the proper answers on that. And then we had talks about Highway 62 and the entrance on that. We seem to have that every meeting also, and I don't know how much more we can say on this except for the fact that there's a lot of things in the works on that. It's not going to change overnight, but I appreciate the comments, but we can only do so much. We are going to continue to work on those entrances as fast as we can. There are plans for those entrances to enhance them as development happens, and I agree with you. It would be a great opportunity for Desert Hot Springs to have another great entrance into our community with all that traffic to Joshua Tree. And finally, as our Executive Program Director stated, the state of the city is finally here. We pushed it off multiple times due to other states of the cities and other opportunities to come forward, and I think we're in a perfect time of year to be able to present to you a great presentation on what we have done this past year, what we have coming forward in the future. I am thrilled with our staff and how they helped me put together this. Well, they did most of the work. I didn't do anything. I'm just going to get up there and be the blabbermouth and talk about it. But with our staff, the way they've sat down and put this together, it's going to be a great presentation for our community to really highlight some really, really great things that are coming down the pipe. So with that, I encourage you, if you cannot attend, it will play back later on YouTube, on our city YouTube account, and you'll be able to watch it then, but I really encourage you to be there live if you can. And that's all I have. I'm sorry? One more thing.
Great. Sean Pendergrass, and this is regarding the Beautification Committee, is the assistant principal at Desert Hot Springs, and he wants to help you and Nunez in any way with the Beautification Committee.
I love volunteers. We will get them out there. All right. We are going to move to public hearings. This is item number 4 of our agenda. This is titled AB 1600 Annual Report, Development Impact Fees and Resolution, making findings and reaffirming the necessity of certain development impact fees. Mr. Buckheim.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, can we get the handheld turned off? It's a lot of echoing.
Get the city clerk to take care of that. Mr. Buckheim?
Yes, thank you. So this is a public hearing to review and accept the AB 1600 Annual Report on Development Impact Fees for fiscal year 21-22, and to adopt the resolution of the City Council making findings and reaffirming the necessity of certain development impact fees. The city is able to collect development impact fees to offset the costs of adding facilities, infrastructure, and equipment due to increased development and population growth. The city collects fees in areas for fire facilities, parks improvements, streets, traffic signals, bridges, general facilities, a law enforcement facility and equipment, community center, the aquatic center, and the storm drainage improvements. For fiscal year 21-22, the city collected a total of $1,740,644 in development impact fees and spent $1,378,651 for unapproved projects for those. The total fund balance at 6/30/2022 for these funds is $2,215,129. AB 1600 further requires that the city make certain findings as to any portion of impact fees deposited into an impact fee account that remains unspent after 5 years. Only 2 of the city's development impact fees funds have unspent fees after 5 years, and they are the Fire Facilities Funds and the Aquatic Center Fund. In both cases, these, due to the high costs of the needed improvements identified for those fees, the city will need to collect the fees for several years, as the amount of fees collected are not sufficient to be able to fund the projects within the 5-year period. In the case of the Fire Facilities Fund, due to the construction of Fire Station 98, those fees will be used to help with the construction and with purchasing equipment for the new facility. So we expect those fees to be spent in the next couple of years. So staff recommends that adoption of the resolution of the City Council making findings and reaffirming the necessary and the necessity of certain development impact fees.
Thank you for the report. This is going to be an opportunity for City Council to ask any specific questions to staff before I open the public hearing. Do I have any specific questions? I see everybody shaking their head no, so we'll open the public hearing at this time, and we'll take any public testimony in favor, opposed, or neutral position. Would anyone like to speak to this item? I see nobody standing up and coming forward to the mic. Final call. We will close the public hearing at this time, and I'll go back to City Council discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt the annual report and the findings therein for comply with AB 1600 on development impact fees.
I'll second.
There is a motion and a second. No other questions? Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Do you have to read anything on that one? No? Okay. All right, we'll move to item number 5, which is an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.160, massage establishments of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. Ms. Newsom.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So I bring forward tonight an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapters 17.160, massage establishments of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. Oh, okay. So code compliance works in connection with the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. In the last several years, we've identified multiple massage establishments in the city engaging in human trafficking activity. These illegal massage establishments were able to go undetected and unpermitted due to the lack of local regulations required to properly oversee massage establishments and their management. Staff worked in collaboration with the California Massage Therapy Council, also known as CAMTC, on the draft ordinance to ensure that it aligned with their mission and requirements. So if you're unfamiliar with the CAMTC, that's a mouthful, created by the California legislator and is a private, nonprofit public benefit corporation whose mission is to protect the public by certifying massage professionals in California, meet the requirements in the law, and approving massage programs that meet the minimum standards for training and curriculum. Code compliance staff undergoes CAMTC training to curtail illicit massage businesses and to identify CAMTC certified professionals. Our goal in the repeal and replacement of this ordinance is to strengthen regulations, deter human trafficking activity, and update outdated, unlawful provisions. In our current massage ordinance, we do not require that massage establishments, in addition to a massage therapist, be permitted. And when massage establishments are found to be engaged in illegal activity, there are no regulations concerning the owner's or manager's responsibilities. So the proposed massage establishment permit seeks to require for massage establishments to obtain a permit, outline regulations for massage establishments, and require them to disclose the names and contact information of all owners, managers, and employees, including independent contractors. It's going to require that an owner and operator provide their CAMTC certification and a copy of their CAMTC issued identification card. Any owner or operator who is not CAMTC certified must disclose if they have been convicted of sex crimes in the last 5 years and whether they are required to register as a sex offender in the state of California or any other mandatory registration law. Owners and operators who are not a CAMTC certified massage professional must undergo a background check. Owners and operators must disclose if they have ever had a massage license or permit suspended, revoked, withdrawn, or denied under statutory authority, and provide copies of documentation related to such denial, suspension, or revocations. So just to highlight some of the key regulations, these permits will be retroactive, meaning that massage establishments that are currently in operation will be required to obtain the permits. They will be required to obtain them within 6 months, and businesses that offer ancillary massage therapist services are exempt from this chapter. Anyone who provides massage must comply with health and safety regulations and regulations outlined in 5.56.230. Staff recommendation is to approve an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.160 massage establishments of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So I have a staff report. It was finished. This will be entertaining of questions to city staff. Yes, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Newsom, you talked briefly about ancillary organizations. I'm going to take a hazard and guess that that includes our boutique spas and our big hotels where they have spas that offer massage therapy, and these requirements pertain to them as well?
So when I touched on the businesses that offer ancillary massage therapy services, that would pertain to hotels and spas. And so the way that we're defining that is where 15% or less of the overall business operations are related to massage therapy services.
Well, how does this affect the self-employed LMT who advertises and does mobile services?
It truly doesn't affect them too much. This is more so aimed at the establishment themselves needing to identify that the owners, managers are in some sort of operation or management of that business, acquiring their own permit, and then having to undergo background checks so that they have some responsibility should there be any illicit activity.
But let's assume you wouldn't want me to do this, but let's say I was a licensed massage therapist and I just had my own business and advertised and did, on-site massages for people. I know there are businesses that do that. Are they subject to this as well?
They're subject to all of the regulations because they provide massage therapy services. They're also subject to all the health and safety requirements, and they need to be CAMTC certified.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Follow up with that. Now, say Gary was doing massages at his house. Does that also imply that he needs to follow those same criteria? And if a mobile, if he was doing mobile, he would have to get a business license that's involved in the city, correct?
Yeah, and so anyone engaged in massage therapy services needs to abide by those regulations.
Mr. Betts?
So portions of this apply to standalone massage therapy establishments, and then also hotels, motels that offer massage services like the boutique spas, and they're exempted from some sections.
They're exempt from the sections related to the massage establishment permit, but they must comply with the regulations set forth, the health and safety requirements set forth, and any additional regulations outlined in 5.56.230.
Okay, and when we're talking, these are all legal businesses, legally permitted businesses, right?
Correct,
Okay,
yes,
so I'm
yes.
looking at 5.56.200, and then under that subsection 8, as I identify it, it says each massage establishment shall require all patrons to sign in with their full name and the date of their visit before receiving a service. Does
Correct.
that apply to the hotels?
Yes, I believe that does apply to
Okay.
the hotels.
So is there any other businesses where we track, I guess at the marijuana dispensaries, they're required to track their presence there, correct?
Correct.
You have to sign in there. So here, what's the purpose of that?
I believe we followed the CAMTC's guidelines and requirements for massage.
And they've required that?
Correct.
And in California, nobody had any problems with that as far as, tracking our movements and people's participation in legal businesses?
No, it's a type of business that is, highly engaged and unfortunately in human trafficking activity. So it's one of the ways in which we're able to track who comes in and who comes out, and it's a standard practice, at the California state level.
Okay, I'm All right, I'll save my comments for later. Thank you.
If there's no other questions to staff, I'll open the public hearing, and I will take any testimony in favor. Any testimony opposed? Any testimony in neutral position? I see nobody stepping forward. I will close the public hearing at this time, and I'll go back to city council discussion. I have no problem with the ordinance. I think we needed to update this. I think every city is going through these problems right now with illegal establishments doing things they shouldn't do, and it's unfortunate because it causes extra regulations that we don't want to put on people, but it's necessary. It's the same as the catalytic converters being stolen. They now have to, before they can sell them or distribute them or junk them, they have to give their IDs. And so whenever these processes hinder the average person from doing basic services that they do need with legal businesses, we have to overregulate. And unfortunately, this we need to support. Or not unfortunately, we fortunately need to support this so that it is regulated. Too many times people think they can do this illegally. So I will start again. Ms. Pye, anything else?
It's just that this stops human trafficking, and I think that's a good thing.
Mr. Nunez? Mr. Gardner?
Regarding the ID component of there, and maybe the chief could weigh in if he needed to, but it's very common these days for police departments to take an active approach, not only to the victims of human trafficking, the people on the one end, but the Johns using it, and this is a way for them to track that as well. Is that would that be a fair assessment, Chief? Thanks.
Wow, I'm troubled by this section about the having to sign in and register. It's presuming that everybody that's going in there is guilty of something, and that's going in and get a massage is guilty. And it's just tracking our movements. We don't do this at a chiropractor. We don't do this at other places. I'm just really concerned now that obviously the rest of this ordinance is important and needed. I fully support that. But as I'm scanning through this, and I don't know how I missed it earlier. I would have asked staff about it, but it just strikes me now here is that we're tracking people's movements, throwing a broad net over everybody, and we always have to protect our civil liberties. And you can't just forego your civil liberties, right to privacy and ability to travel and and go about your business, and then have to go and register. It's the same thing as if you walking down the street and a police officer comes up and says, "Show me your ID." Say, "Well, sorry, I'm not going to do that. I don't have to do that. We're not going to have checkpoints here." So I'm troubled by that section. I'd like to have that removed. Otherwise, I'm in fully support of the measure.
Appreciate your comments. So just, what else do you do to be able to stop this type of activity? When I go to the dentist, I sign in. When I go to my doctor, I sign in. If I take the catalytic converter off my car now, I have to give them my ID.
But those
I mean, there's
records
so
aren't-
many points there that have to be made. My wife and I probably spend once or twice a year at one of our local spas. I have no problem signing in because I know I'm going to get a massage by a licensed massage therapist. And if they needed to check that looking for someone doing bad things, I would be open to it.
But that's not, those different places aren't checked by police as part of an enforcement measure.
Well, unfortunately, this business has gotten to that point that it needs to be enforced, unfortunately. And we've had a lot of those facilities, unfortunately, pop up in this town because they think they can take advantage of our city, and we can't allow that anymore. Any other questions?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt the ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.160 massage establishments in the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code.
There is a motion.
I'll second.
And there is a second. If there's no more discussion, please vote.
Going to restate my position that I support this measure, but I can't vote for it because of that one provision.
Motion passes with Councilmember Betts opposed.
Thank you very much. Item number
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry, yes, you got to read this one?
Yes. So this is the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council, City of Desert Hot Springs, repealing and replacing Chapter 17.160, massage establishments of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. The ordinance will return on December 6th for second reading and adoption.
Thank you. Item number 6 is an ordinance adding Chapter 8.48 Tentative Relocation Assistance, Tenant Relocation Assistance, to the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. Ms. Newsom.
Good evening again. So this is an ordinance adding Chapter 8.48 Tenant Relocation Assistance to the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. The tenant relocation assistance is designed to give aid to tenants displaced from their homes due to code violations that are so extensive and of such nature that the immediate health and safety of the tenants is endangered. The units or structures must generally be vacated to allow for repairs to take place. These violations are no fault of the tenants, and they assist the displaced tenants to receive financial assistance for relocation, and that can be done by way of property owners or the City of Desert Hot Springs. These are some examples of properties with extensive violations. Typically, they can be things such as health and safety code violations related to lack of hot and cold running water to plumbing fixtures in a dwelling unit, unpermitted installations of AC units in unsafe conditions, safety hazards of all ranges, but especially, lack of power, illegal connections of power. This is a picture of bars and over a window with no means of ingress, egress, or release. The California Health and Safety Code provides that any tenant who is displaced or subject to displacement from a residential unit as a result of an order to vacate or an order requiring the vacation of a residential unit by a local enforcement agency as a result of a violation so extensive and of such nature that the immediate health and safety of the resident is endangered shall be entitled to receive relocation benefits from the owner. So the Health and Safety Code sets forth conditions under which a property owner must pay relocation benefits to displaced tenants, and the delayed payment of relocation benefits by the property owner or designated agent may impose extreme hardship upon tenants who then must themselves obtain the large sums of money necessary to relocate. This will authorize the city to adopt an ordinance that allows the city to advance relocation assistance to tenants where the property owners fail or refuse to pay relocation benefits to these displaced tenants. The city may subsequently collect from the property owner any amount paid to such displaced tenants, along with any additional penalty amount which shall not exceed $10,000. Staff recommendation is for the City Council to approve and add Chapter 8.48 Tenant Relocation Assistance to the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
All right. Before we open the public hearing, we'll entertain any questions from the City Council.
Not necessarily a question. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Christina. This is huge. For me, this is I've really pressed holding property owners and, vacated owners that live in other cities, in rich neighborhoods that have properties here. They have blighted properties. So I'm very happy to see this, and I'm glad that, we're finally pushing. This is going to be huge for the city and for the residents of Desert Hot Springs. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ms. Pye, anything? Mr. Gardner?
Yeah, Ms. Newsom, again, another great one, and this is a much-needed program. I'm just curious, I guess you would say. It is the responsibility of the property owner for these, but like you said, in an emergency situation, we don't get that. Do we have the ability to recoup those funds that we may advance out from that property owner at a later date by whatever, a lien or whatever?
Yeah, I'll defer to the city attorney on that, but yes.
So currently, we don't have that in the ordinance. I mean, if it really was a nuisance abatement action, that is where we have our, when we go out and get we're able to recoup our money. It's not in the ordinance, stating that we could go ahead and recoup this from the property owner. This is really, made for those situations where the property, it's almost like an emergency situation. So we don't currently have the mechanism to do that. But once a nuisance abatement action is filed, we could then recoup, any and all monies associated with that nuisance abatement.
And in most cases, in something like this, are we filing a nuisance abatement?
We haven't had this tenant relocation program before, but yes, we file nuisance abatement actions often, actually. So we work all the time with code compliance to do that, and we recoup our money as best we can.
Do you think, would it make sense for us to put such a mechanism into the ordinance?
I could absolutely, if the city council gives me direction, I can put a paragraph or so into the ordinance to allow for such recouping if proper nuisance abatement action was filed against the property owner. I'm just looking just.
Because right now, we have a fund of 1.4 million available in there for that to use. I doubt we will use that much money in that, but it would be nice to keep that fund balance up and be able to recoup those costs from a property owner who doesn't do what a property owner is supposed to do, and cover those.
Actually, I was just talking with the deputy city manager. There is 8.48.050 on recovery, so there is a mechanism. If that mechanism is not satisfactory to the city council, we could go ahead and add something more.
Well, not being the legal expert, maybe I'll just ask either Ms. Newsom or Ms. Williams, do you think that provision is sufficient to be able to recover costs? 'Cause I would like to see us recover those costs in the event we do have to do that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that is my fault. For whatever reason, I thought this wasn't in here, but it is. And so forgive me, because that is my fault. It is in here for cost recovery.
Okay.
I don't know why I missed that.
Then
And
we're good.
it's definitely sufficient. There's 5 paragraphs on it. So.
No, and I will.
My fault. That is my fault for misleading the
And I'll
council.
blame it on my
Blame it on myself.
overabundance of cough drops and cold medicine today too. But I appreciate that, and I think I agree with Councilmember Nunez that this is something that we really do need to be doing, and I'm glad to see us doing it. So I'm happy to support it.
Ms. Pye, you had something to add?
No, I was going to add that is in there, and at least up to $5,000.
Mr. Betts?
Yeah, cities don't just pave roads and put up buildings anymore. And I don't think the public realizes the situation, the human side of what our staff runs into. And this is giving them a tool in a very practical matter. Somebody needs to get out of a very distressed property, to put it nicely, and they go, where do I go? And we're trying to solve a problem in the city, and this has given the staff the tool that they need to facilitate something quickly. And so I really appreciate staff coming up with this solution and taking this approach. This is really, really very good for our city, so thank you for that. It's going to help people who are otherwise in a desperate situation to get the relief they need. So great job, thank you. I'm wholeheartedly support this.
I'm going to open the public hearing at this time and take any testimony. I'm going to open the public hearing at this time and take any testimony in favor, opposed, or a neutral position. I see nobody coming forth. I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm in full support of this. I have been an advocate for absentee owners to take care of their properties and their tenants. Our inner city is a problem sometimes, and I would say a good percentage of it has to do with how they treat their properties. Those tenants, we now have things that strengthen our municipal code to help us get those people the help they need. So really thrilled with this. If there's no more other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Hold on one second. I got a comment here, and then I'll let you make the motion.
For anyone that this is possible for, because I know someone, there is in the ordinance eligibility for relocation benefits, and if you read through that, you can find out what makes you eligible. And we have a second reading of this first, but if you don't want to read the ordinance, then please call staff.
And my oops was my apology for getting out ahead of the
No worries.
public hearing notice. So I make a motion that we approve an ordinance adding chapter, well, who put that in the way? All right. You put it in the way of what I was reading. We should have Gerald read it. An ordinance adding Chapter 8.48 tenant relocation assistance to the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code.
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
So motion and a second, and I was gonna make one other comment. I probably get at least 3 calls a year of people in need, so this is great. Please vote.
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is the birthing stage of a long growing process, and we can always change it as we go. So I think this is a great message and has teeth to holding these property owners accountable. So thank you.
Motion passes unanimously.
Awesome, thank you, Dan. We are done with our public hearings tonight. We'll move to our...
Mr. Mayor, if I could read this.
I'm sorry.
So first reading of an ordinance of the City Council adding Chapter 8.48 tenant relocation assistance to the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code, and the ordinance will return on December 6th for second reading and adoption.
Thank you, Joe. Move to our administrative calendar, item number 7. It's an ordinance amending section 15.68.130, duties and responsibility of the floodplain manager of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code to allow for a more streamlined, your mic's on.
Oh, sorry.
Streamlined process for the approvals of letters of map revision, also known as LOMARs. Exempt from CEQA per section 15061 B as in boy, number 3, because it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that the adoption of this ordinance in question may have a significant impact on the environment. Julian, that was a long title. Did you think of that, or did Nick think of that?
No.
It came from the city attorney. Of course it did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good evening. So staff is proposing an amendment to section 15.68.130, duties and responsibilities of the floodplain administrator. So first, what is a letter of map revision? Anytime a floodplain is revised, a letter of map revision, or LOMAR, must be processed and approved by the city and FEMA. So the reasons for changing the municipal code is currently graded sites are left exposed while waiting for FEMA approval. FEMA approval can take years to obtain, and so in an effort to streamline the development process, staff makes the following recommendations: to change the requirement that LOMARs are approved prior to certificate of occupancy rather than issuance of building permits. That's it.
Oh, that easy. There was a lot more on the screen,
Yeah,
and I thought you were going to keep reading.
It's the same thing.
You were
so.
being efficient. Forgive us. With that said, I'm going to take public comments first. Would anybody like to speak to this item? I see nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments. I'll move to City Council for questions. You were so efficient, they don't even have questions, or we all just don't understand it. But either way, it seems like it's going to be a good thing. No, I'm joking. With that said, I'll entertain a motion.
I move an ordinance amending section 16.68. I move the ordinance amending 16.68 and the other 5 lines of text that we don't need to read.
Just a correction, it's 15.68. I'm not sure if you said that or not. I thought you said 16. Wanted to make sure it was on record. It's 15.68.130.
Yes, we don't want to have another Park and Palm incident, do we?
Yes.
So.
There is a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to say.
Your mic, please.
This makes it easier. And it's back to what Gardner said, streamlining. And FEMA is okay with it, so that makes it real good. That's it.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
This is the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council amending sections 15.68.130, duties and responsibilities of the floodplain manager of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code to allow for a more streamlined process for approvals of letters of map revision. The ordinance will also return on December 6th for second reading and adoption.
Thank you very much. We had no items pulled from the consent calendar. Is there anybody in the public that did not speak at the beginning of the meeting that would like to speak to the City Council and came in late? See nobody coming forth. We'll close that. And before adjournment, I just want to announce that our next meeting is December 6th here in the City Council chambers. The Public Safety Commission is scheduled to meet on December 8th, the Planning Commission on the 13th. There is a correction. We do have, it says December 20th city council meeting, but after the December 6th meeting, we go dark until the second meeting in January so that our staff can enjoy the holidays, get caught back up, and the city council gets a little bit of a break. But if there is a need for an emergency meeting, it can be called. Did the Public Safety Commission meet this? They didn't meet it all this month, correct? No, they did not meet it all this month. And with no other further business in front of the city, have a good evening and be safe. We are adjourned.